Hello, fellow teachers. So as I mentioned briefly in end of year meetings last week, it is possible to create Turnitin.com assignments in Schoology that allow students to bypass completely logging into Turnitin.com. I know for some people, one of the hangups with using Turnitin.com is that it's just another website with another login, another password, another class ID, and just all these things for students to remember, when we'd like to use Schoology as a one-stop shop. And thankfully, I figured out how to make it work after working through some of the bugs. Before I create or demonstrate how to create a Turnitin.com assignment here, just two quick little kickers to know. One thing to know is that in order to do this, you do need to use Schoology's gradebook to keep track of your grades. Once again, if you're using Schoology's gradebook as your primary gradebook, all you have to do is sync your grades frequently to make sure that Skyward is accurate. The other kicker, and really the biggest bug that I had to work through this year, is that Turnitin assignments do not work for students who do not have their school email addresses typed into Skyward. As strange as that might sound, with the way that the programs communicate, their school email addresses have to be correctly typed into Skyward in order to make it work. Thankfully, we should have that solved as a problem for next year. It wasn't solved for this year, which is where some of us hit our heads against the wall on this one. So I just want to demonstrate, first of all, how to create a Turnitin.com assignment in Schoology and make sure that it's configured correctly. The first thing I want to do is figure out where I want to put it. I'm just going to make up a fake one for my Applied English Unit 2 from the first semester, where we really hit essay writing hard. And I'm not going to pop it into a weak folder. I'll just put it at the very end of this one. I go to Add Materials, Add File, Link, External Tool, right where my cursor is. And I want External Tool. Instead of automatic based on URL, I want this to be Turnitin Milwaukee Lutheran High School. And I'm going to give it a title. We'll just call this Unit 2 Final Essay. I don't have to touch URL, consumer key, shared secret, or even custom parameters, but I do want to click Enable Grading. Let's say this is out of 50 points, not 100. Due date, I'll just give it a random one. Today is Thursday the 6th. I'll give my fake students, I don't know, let's be nice and give them 8 days. So it's due next Friday the 14th. And I don't have to mess with grading categories because this is inside of my sandbox course. Ungraded is fine. Scale should always be Milwaukee Lutheran for everything you do, especially if you've never used the gradebook before. Make sure that you're using Milwaukee Lutheran. Teacher training is our period. I'm going to click Submit. All right, so the assignment's right in there, and here's where it gets a little bit goofy. Because Turnitin has its own set of directions, I do want to go in here and make sure that everything is lined up the way I want it to be. I'm going to click on that. Now, assignment inbox is where I would see all of my student submissions once they get in. What's important for me right now is to click on Settings. Notice, Turnitin automatically sets a max grade of 100, even though I set my grade in Schoology as 50. I want to make sure that those line up. Start dates and end due dates, I think they just kind of create randomly, or not randomly, but they set it up based on when you created the assignment. I won't touch start date, but due date I want to make sure is accurate. I said the 14th. I just want to make sure that I set this for midnight. 23, they go by military time, 23:59. And I might as well set the feedback release date as the same thing. There we go. Assignment instructions, I'm not going to touch here. I do want to click optional settings and make sure everything looks good. Standard paper repository, submission of any final type, those are all fine. The only other thing you might be interested in is attach a rubric. This is a little more advanced in creating rubrics inside of Turnitin.com, of which I'm still learning how to do well. But if you do want to create your rubric inside of Turnitin.com, you'll want to click attach a rubric and then collect one of the ones that you selected. Turnitin has all these automatic ones that they've created. I do not know how good they are. I have not used them for myself. I've created a couple for my own. Applied Expository Essay, TWTTN rubric. Those are my own, and those worked well. But I'm not going to cover that in this video. Well, I'll just attach one of my old rubrics. Applied Expository is fine. Cool. And there's I lied. The other thing you might be interested in is similarity report right here. If you're really interested in avoiding plagiarism or helping your students to understand plagiarism, you might want to click exclude bibliographic materials. Sometimes Turnitin picks up like works cited pages as being plagiarized, even though it's just a works cited page. If you click that, it'll rule that out of their similarity reports. It doesn't really matter for me so much because I can do that kind of reading myself. Exclude quoted materials, same thing. If something's in quotation marks, they won't count that as being plagiarized. I like to leave this one unchecked because I'm also looking for citation errors in mine. I don't know what exclude small sources is, so I'm not going to play with it. There is a little button that says save these settings for future use. So if there is one, or if there is just kind of a general standard set you want to use, you can absolutely click that button and work through it. I'm going to click submit. And one thing to note here, I don't have multiple sections for this sandbox course, but if I had multiple sections, I would have to do the same thing for every section of that class, even if it's linked. That's one of those areas where Turnitin is not as strong yet, and we're trying to communicate with them. But this is a step that you'll have to do for each of your sections. The button will be right under, it's either right under assignment inbox where my cursor is now, or it's slightly above it right up in here. Either way, you'll want to do that and make sure that everything's set correctly for each section of a course that you're teaching. I already clicked submit, I believe, so my assignment should be good. I'm going to go back to my inbox. And let's make sure this inbox works. One thing that I've done is I've logged myself in as a student. I just so happen to remember Christian Freeman Sheppa's password, so I'm hacked into hers right now. I just want to show what this looks like on the student view. So for a student to submit, and I'm going to click refresh here, make sure everything's good. I should be able to find this assignment by clicking in the Unit 2 folder. Unit 2 final essay. So this is what it looks like from the student side for submitting a paper. Christian should work because she submitted one for me before. So on her end, she sees this little blue button that says upload submission. And these are some keystrokes for students to learn as well. Upload submission, by browsing for a submission file, they'd be searching the computer itself. So if it's saved to downloads or documents, it can be found in there. If you're using OneDrive, if you're using Word Online, students will want to click Cloud Submission, OneDrive. This should take me directly into Christian's OneDrive. It'll make me sign into hers. I'll do it anyway. Sorry, Christian. And I'll just select something random. Whatever America Talent is, I'll just submit it. Doesn't matter right now. Open. And I should have just a series of blue buttons to click to make sure that it gets uploaded. Interesting. Looks like some kind of cover letter. Submission complete. And right now, Turnitin is actually calculating its similarity report right now. What Christian could do is click on her paper title, and it will show her the Turnitin.com view for her paper. And I can do the same on my end. I probably have to click refresh, but it should work. %90 plagiarized. So my guess is that the assignment itself was something that required some sort of copy pasting, or the same exact thing has been submitted to Turnitin already. But I'm going to click on this and just see what the view is like on the teacher end. So on the grading end, just the blue layer would be my comments if I want to add anything in for grading. So I can choose a pre-made comment, a quick mark. I can make my own. I don't really mess with the inline comments too much. If I have a rubric, it'll be, or voice comments, I do these every once in a while. Rubrics as well. If I click the little full screen button right here, it'll show me my full size rubric. I'm not worried about that now. Similarity report right here. It says most of this is taken from studymode.com. That doesn't sound too good, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. The purple layer is ETS, that's automatic grammar checking, but you get the deal with how you want to grade from here. I hope you are able to use this. Yep, there's our little grammatical mistakes as well. Once again, students can see this, I can see this. Anything that I add will be in that blue layer right there for students to see later. I hope you're able to put this to good use for yourself.